one more go around, especially as a coach who's a creature of habit and want to be able to do things your way?
Yes, Bob, but I wasn't going to quit last year after 14 and 19. And I was not happy with what that was. And so that made me come back this year. And I'll say again, I tried to give my team every single day everything I had, but I didn't do a good job with this team. So I wasn't going to wait for strike three is bottom line, but this was a hard year. Our players, from the room to the gym, the room to the gym, the room to the gym, they did not have the experience of going to football games on Saturday and seeing the pageantry of college football. They didn't have the walking on campus and seeing the classes being taught out on the grass. And so it was hard on our guys, but no, heck, I'd like to coach for 30 more years, but I just don't think I'm the right guy.
Art.
Roy, you've been such a great ambassador for the game all these years. I know you have a lot of things to think about, but do you see possibility of staying involved with the game in some way?
You know, Art, I don't know what's in the future. I know that I won't coach again. How can I leave Leaky Black and go coach somebody else? That's not going to happen. If I could be useful in some way to the University of North Carolina, I would try to do that, see what it sounds like, but still not convinced about driving an RV across the United States, but I need to give Wicked Wanda and my family some time. But I'd love to be an ambassador for the game and an ambassador for coaches, because I just think the coaches are my heroes.
Over on the right, Andrew Jones.
Is that close, Art?
Sorry, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Go ahead, Andrew.
When you were going through the last couple of weeks and weighing where your mind was, maybe on your walks or something like that, was there a moment when you knew this is it and you got to tell Wanda, and kind of had to come to terms with it maybe before you did tell her? Is there that one seminal moment where you just thought, this is it?
I was so discouraged after the Wisconsin game, the way I'd gotten our guys ready to play. And I think I sort of knew after that game. And so the last 13 nights, I basically stayed awake all night to make sure there wasn't much sleeping or anything. But I don't know that there was a single event. Like I said, you know, some things sort of confirmed that it was the right decision. I called Bubba, I think, was it Tuesday of last week? So we lose on Friday night, and I called Bubba on Tuesday of that week. And Chancellor was nice enough to meet with me on Sunday and asked me if I would think about it for another 24 hours. So I did what he asked. I stayed late awake all night. and the last 2 days, I was a lucky guy. I went to Augusta National, played par 3 Tuesday, and then played 18 Tuesday afternoon. Played 18 yesterday morning, and it was beautiful, and I loved it, and shot 88, 87. I did par 13, 14, 15, 17, and 18 to finish, so I probably won't ever go back. But between every shot, I wasn't really thinking about hitting the golf ball. I was thinking about how I was going to tell my players and getting through this press conference. So I knew then that, you know, if you can't even think about golf when you're at Augusta National, the decision that I felt about not being the right person any longer, that was pretty much confirmed everything.
On the left, Lauren.
Coach, congrats on a great career.
Thank you.
You mentioned so many of those late game decisions and almost moments. So, how will you reconcile with those memories and find joy in them if possible?
You know, Lauren, I won't find joy in those because those were bad moments. I'll try to forget those as quickly as I can. But like I say, I felt like if I could get past this of not feeling like I was the right person any longer, I'm going to enjoy thinking about the great wins and the great seasons. And as I said to Coach Robinson this morning, same thing I said to you. I said, we did okay. And he said, we did a lot better than that. And I think it was Marvin said the same thing in with the players in the lounge. I'm going to look and be proud of those, the old Gamecock, the old ball coach is the one that sort of got me into calling myself Old Roy. And Old Roy is going to feel pretty good about what we accomplished. And Old Roy is going to be proud. But the problem is, Old Roy's selfish. He wanted more. And I didn't think I could cheat my school and my kids.
We got about 3 or 4 more questions. Brett?
Roy, as much as you love this place and this program, how difficult in 2000 was it to tell Mr. Bedore that you weren't going to come? And then a few years later, when he asked you again, what changed to make you decide to come that time?
It was hard. It was hard to tell Coach Smith and Dickie that, but I had promised Nick Collison that I would be there his entire career. And I never could come to grips with the fact that I would leave without doing what I told that kid. And Coach Robinson and I went to Oklahoma City a few years ago and saw Nick Collison's one of his last games. They retired his jersey for the Seattle Supersonics, Oklahoma City Thunder. He averaged like 5 points a game for his career. But I'd promised that kid that I was going to be there for his entire career. Because some people had told him that if he came to Kansas that I would be gone, that I was going to go to North Carolina. So that's what it was. It wasn't that Dickie made any mistakes or anything. I know it's corny as all get out, but that's what it was. And so during that time period, those 3 years between 2000 and 2003, I never told any other kid that. Nick Collison was a senior. I'd told everybody that asked that I'd turned down several NBA jobs, and I'd turned down North Carolina, and that was the only school that I would ever leave Kansas for. And so that was the freedom. And then we had changed athletic directors at Kansas, and Dr. Bob Frederick, who was so loyal to me, and so the job had changed a little bit, and it was a different decision. Wanda and the kids thought I would come back the first time, and I didn't, and they thought I would stay the second time, and I came back. But it was Dick Bedore, and Coach Smith said, he said, we wanted you the first time, but we need you now. And I think I would have been able to say no to Coach Smith if it hadn't been that Nick Collison had already graduated. So that's it.
All right, time for 2 more. Coach, appropriately, the 2 oldest guys probably in the room, Kip and Barry.
Kipper.
Roy, indulge me a personal note here. I want to thank you for befriending me professionally and personally over these decades.
Thanks,
It means
Kip.
a lot.
Thank you, Kip.
My family sends its regards. But I speak for a lot of media, I'm sure, when I say, Dadgummit, Roy, we're going to miss you. And is there a favorite memory you'll take with you about just what you've done for the last 5 decades?
Kip, I said this when Kansas, when there was an article in one of the Athletic, is that what it was, Kirsch?
Yes, sir.
And it talked about how I was sick as a dog when I first got to Kansas. But I met with the local media, and I told them that I would try to help them do their job as long as they didn't try to bother me doing mine. And that's something I've always felt. And I felt that way with you many years ago, Barry, many years ago. You guys are good. We don't have to agree to respect each other. And I know I'm not an original person saying that, but I did, in my later years, our press conferences got so they got so ridiculous. I mean, we were off chart. They sort of got out of hand, but it was fun and we laughed a lot. But I loved coaching my high school team. I loved coaching at Kansas. I remember we were picked 8th in the Big 8, and we won the preseason NIT. That was my second year, and they introduced me as Ron Williams instead of Roy. And I told my team that was all right. It didn't bother me because we were going to shock everybody. And we'd shocked LSU with Shaq and Chris Jackson and Stanley Roberts. I told Dick Vitale, he came by shoot around. And he said, boy, they've given you a tough road, LSU at LSU. And I called my team over and told them. I said, what did I tell you guys? Because I told them we were going to win. And you do stupid stuff like that when you're younger. And but Nick Collison, Drew Gooden, and Kirk Heinrich saved me because college basketball got very difficult with the recruiting stuff there for a while. And there were 3 great kids, great families that just cared about college educations. And so they saved me. I went home and told Wanda one time, maybe I will have to go to the NBA, but those 3 kids saved me. But big moments, I've been so fortunate, but I will tell you, it was a thrill for me when Coach Smith and Michael Jordan came in our locker room in St. Louis. And I told them that North Carolina basketball had been Phil Ford and Dean Smith and Michael Jordan. But for the rest of history, North Carolina basketball was also going to be Sean May and Raymond Felton and Marvin Williams. And to have Michael and Coach Smith in the locker room. And then to go over on the side of the court and have Wanda and Scott and Kimmy to be able to hug them, and everybody had a little tear in their eyes. So, and we've been fortunate to win it again in 2009 and win it again in 2017. And Phil Knight left me a message today, and I'll never forget, we beat Oregon, his school, in the semifinals. And I came out of the press conference and he was standing there waiting for me. He said, you beat my school, but I'm so, so happy for you. And you think about those kind of things. I think about the relationships. And Shamon Williams never played for me, but he's here today. And Tyler Zeller, I'm afraid I'm going to miss somebody's name. But so the relationships, David Noel, Byron Sanders, Nick Bradford, Rex Walters, all those guys today. It's about the kids. Buddy Baldwin took an interest in me, and I've been trying to repay him for 48 years.
Coach, last one, Barry.
Been talking a lot about your feelings, and one feeling that you mentioned and kind of passed over that we don't like to talk about in public very much. You said, I'm scared to death of the next phase. What are you scared of?
The only thing I've ever wanted to do was coach. I'm 70 years old, and I'm arranging our golf trip to Arizona at the end of April. I've been putting teams together my whole life. When I was 17 years old, I'm calling my buddies up on Saturday morning and telling them what time the pickup games and where it's going to be. When I'm a high school coach, I'm calling and waking guys up and telling them our tee time is at 8 o'clock. So it's all I've ever done. And I don't know if I don't know how good I was at coaching, but I'm scared to death of trying to do something that is not coaching. But when I hug Aiden and Court and Kaysen and little Miss Kinsey, the world seems at peace. And so I am scared. You know, I don't. Wanda may decide she wants a job after a couple of weeks. And God knows, the other night she came back in. I said, there's something wrong with the dishwasher. And it was on rinse. Hell, I didn't know that. I just knew it wasn't washing the dishes. So if she gets a job and I have to do all that crap, I know I'm in trouble. So this is like all of my press conferences over the last couple of years, guys. They've deteriorated a great deal. I'm talking about running the damn dishwasher. So let me close this thing by saying again, I've been so lucky. I appreciate you guys and girls. I'm from the South, so if you say guys, that means male and female all. I'm appreciative of Chancellor Budig and Bob Frederick, Dickie Bedour and Chancellor Meeser, Bubba and Chancellor Guskowicz. And for the rest of my life, I'll always say that I was a coach. And that's the proudest moment of my life. Thank you.